We both hit a moment separately in different seasons of our lives where we needed this, but this didn't exist. So we became it. And that's why we're here.
Welcome to the Rebellious Woman. I'm Dalina Blackwell,
And I'm Cynthia Collori.
and we're the founders of Positive Female Awakening.
And this is our podcast.
Yes.
All right, Dalina.
All right.
This is our first episode. Welcome,
Yes.
everyone. And we're so excited because on this podcast, we drink wine.
We are your girlfriends hanging out on a Friday night. And I don't know about you guys, but when we do that, we have a little bit of wine.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
And tonight, we are featuring Austin Hope. It's a rosé. And if you don't know about Austin Hope, they're in Paso Robles and they're amazing.
Absolutely amazing.
And we're so lucky because we have these beautiful wine glasses that have our Positive Female Awakening logo. And I'm going to pour us some wine before we get started.
Fantastic. Yeah, they are one of our favorites. If you ever want to go for a tasting, this is what they pour when you arrive. They pour you a little taste of this when you arrive. So I figured this is an awesome way for us to start our podcast.
That's great.
With this.
This is definitely more than a taste.
It is. It is.
As it should be.
It is.
Cheers to our first episode.
Yay.
Yay.
Mm. Yummy.
Oh, that's so good.
It is.
Right. Awesome.
Nice and light.
That
Perfect.
is really nice and light.
Perfect.
All right.
So how did we get here?
You know, people have been asking, and it's been happening for a while. When we went to the bank, when we set this up, when we went to the county assessors to set up our business, our friends, our family, people are like, what are you two doing? So I think it's time we tell our story.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I kind of want to start off that we've been friends for a little over 16 years, and we've had kind of a unique relationship, by which I mean we met at work, right? We've had a lot of different types of relationships where I was a mentor, trainer. We quickly bonded, became friends, and continued our friendship when we were no longer working together. With that, though, we have really seen and supported each other through a lot of growth cycles in our life.
Yes.
Yeah.
For those of you that follow us already and you get our newsletter, you maybe see us on social media, you already know April's theme. No one is coming, become her.
Major events occur in our life, right? All the time. And when a major event occurs in our life, that often leads to a transformation where we become a new version of ourselves. And that's how growth happens, really. The thing is that when those events are happening, we really have no idea that that's going on. We're just in that moment, navigating it the best that we can and hoping for guidance, hoping there's some support, but we really don't know that any type of transformation is about to happen. And that transformation and a new version of ourself often can take years to occur, really. So in 2012, I was at a psychology conference in San Francisco and I got a phone call from my brother. My mom had had a stroke. It was a major stroke. And so I got in my car and I drove the 3.5 hours north to where she was. And when I walked in, it was bad. It was. And so my mother was a very clear person and strong. She was very clear in her wishes, and that was absolutely no intervention if something like this were to happen. That's not always an easy thing to execute, right? But I took her home and I spent the next 2 weeks caring for her. She, this was late April, April 27th to be exact, actually, is when it happened. And so after I took her home, we knew the end was coming. And I begged her to not pass away on my anniversary. My anniversary was coming up, and I really did not want to have the passing of her and my marriage anniversary be on the same day. And she waited.
Mm.
I know. She waited a full 24 hours. I was laying on the floor. I was exhausted. There were some cushions on the floor that I had put there, and I was laying there and I dozed off, and she took her last breath on May 15th. Um, I was broken. I was lost. I was only 36 years old.
Wow. I don't even know how to follow that. um, wow, that was impactful.
It was.
Yeah,
It still is.
yeah, I
Um,
can feel it. I
yeah.
know.
Um,
I need a glass of wine.
yes.
I need a drink.
Yes.
Ooh.
The thing is, Cynthia, is that grief and loss, they happen in lots of different areas of our life. We know the ones that are going to impact us that way, like a passing of a loved one. We expect that. But there's a lot of different areas where impactful major moments will occur that change the trajectory of our life, that will cause a ripple, that will cause some sort of transformation for us. In fact, I remember another time that I was sitting in a California Pizza Kitchen restaurant, and we were getting ready to go shopping. I
Mhm.
think one of the things we love to do. And I received a pretty impactful phone call from you.
Yeah, I remember that phone call. I prefer not to remember the phone call, but here we are. This is a difficult story for me to share, so I'm going to do my best. And I was in a relationship at this time, and one moment it was this loving, beautiful relationship, and in an instant, it became an abusive relationship. And Dalina was the first person I called even before the police. She actually called the
I did.
police. She
Mhm.
did. And I was in shock. And I remember, unfortunately, like most women, I didn't leave right away. And I went back and I remember she actually told me, and I'll never forget this moment and these words, that she said, if you don't leave, he's going to kill you.
Yeah.
So I left. And thank goodness, I'm grateful to this day that we remained friends and grew closer because
Mhm.
fast forward, years
Yes.
later, I was in another relationship and he cheated on me. And like most women, I forgave him and I gave him a second chance. And he cheated again. So I left. And that's about all I did. I remember feeling broken. I didn't want to admit it, but I was very lost inside, but I wasn't showing it outwardly right away anyway. And I was only 37 years old. Man, our late 30s are rough.
They are. They
Oh my
are.
gosh.
I think our mid to late 30s are just a really big time of change. That's that's a given. And that's where we start having our transformation. For me, I lost my everything, and I started searching. I was searching for almost a replacement, even though I know no one can replace her ever, but I needed an elder woman, a woman that could help me and guide me to the next phases of my life. I didn't know how to do it on my own, and I needed a mentor. And don't get me wrong, I had a mentor in my career, a male mentor, but that's different. I needed a woman. And I honestly, I hope that maybe some of her friends would step up and fill that role for me. But they lost someone too. And that wasn't their responsibility to fill that for me. The thing is, with all the searching and all the waiting, nobody came.
It's really wild because
Mm.
different seasons, different experiences, but yet the uh the alignment of what we were going through is just really wild. Because I remember going through that same searching phase. Now, I'll admit the first time I was like, I'm fine, turned down therapy and moved on. Totally never dealt with it. But when I went through that breakup, I was really lost. And I remember I was trying to do everything I could to search outside of myself for help. So I was really trying to help myself. And I remember reading all the self help books. I was listening to the podcasts. I was watching the inspirational videos and the motivational videos and doing the workbooks, taking the quizzes. And it was all outside of myself. I just felt like I was grasping at straws, and I definitely fell into a deep depression. And I realized there was nothing out there. No one was coming to save me.
It's true. Nobody's coming. And that's a harsh realization,
I
isn't
need
it?
another drink.
I know, right? That is cheers.
No one's
No,
coming.
nobody is coming. And so something my mom always did, and she was, if anyone that knew her, which I really wish you could have known her, uh, but she always had this thing where if something was really important to you, or if there was a path forward that you couldn't seem to get to, that you had to create it yourself. She was one of those women.
Yeah, hey.
And it's true. So I came to a realization very stubbornly. I did not want to. I often am forced into things that I don't want to do, that are uncomfortable, right?
I laugh because it's very true.
It is. So I had this realization that I had to create this mentor for myself. I had to do it. And I had this little mindset of, okay, fine, I'll do it myself then. I'm sure a lot of you have had that moment, maybe often if you're like us, like, fine, I'll just do it myself then. But really, it was kind of like my little fuck you to the universe for not sending somebody because I was kind of angry
Yeah.
about that. I wanted somebody and I felt like I really needed that. It's been a long process. These are not easy things to do, and it's not like I just woke up and said, "This is what I'm doing." No, it was journaling and really working through this mindset and this little attitude that I had of really expecting somebody to show up, and then really then coming back to that realization again that nobody is coming, and I really did have to create it for myself. So it was kind of a back and forth. It didn't happen overnight.
Yeah, it just reminds me again, just trying to finding the congruency between our two
Yeah.
experiences of like these moments of isolation, right? Where you whether in her, as you were mentioning, it was almost like a situation of you were forced to be isolated even though you were trying to find this person. And my what happened to me, I I was having such a difficult time keeping up this facade that everything was okay that I didn't realize I was slowly starting to self-isolate. And I was really beginning to hide it because I was
Mm.
ashamed. I was embarrassed about what happened. And it took a long time to realize, and a lot of help, that it wasn't my fault. But honestly, because I couldn't figure this out and I couldn't get myself out of it, I was fortunate to be surrounded by a lot of really wonderful friends and family, and I got help. I went to therapy, and it changed everything. I finally had language that described what I went through. I had tools to actually process these two traumatic experiences. And thank goodness, because it it totally changed my perspective and helped me dig myself out of this hole that I didn't even realize I was in until I was like, oh, I can live life and be with others and be happy and joyous, and I didn't actually do anything wrong. In fact, I actually did everything right. I just didn't know how to process it. And I realized going back, thinking about all the books and the podcasts and everything, that it was just so surface level, that it was just distraction. But until you heal yourself, you can't really ever integrate those things.
You really can't. It's I think a lot of people get stuck in what you're talking about. It's similar to what I felt that I was stuck in, right? That searching for somebody and looking outside. That's what it is. It's surface level. It's looking outside. It's not integrating. It's not looking within. I did the same thing. I Yeah, I did all of those things. But at a certain point, I became the woman I was looking for myself.
Yeah.
I didn't create another person to be that for me. I became the woman that I needed. I stopped the outsourcing of everything and was looking inward more. The thing is, you can't do it alone. You couldn't do it alone. I couldn't do it alone. Neither can you. You have to reach out, right?
Mhm.
And community is going to help with that. So for my journey, I as I was trying to create myself into the person I needed, I started bringing other people along my growth journey and building a community of people. And that was a big impact for me.
I tried to bring wine along with me when I was going through this. And you know what? Even to this day, this wine has never let me down.
Mm, it really doesn't.
It's always been there for me. But I laugh because it's something that we really do enjoy
We
wine.
do. Yeah.
It's a very big part of our lives, and it always has been, for the good and the bad. Never let it get too bad, of course. But
No.
in reflecting on all this, I realized I go back and I think about, man, I had such excellent discipline. Like I didn't have a problem with discipline. I
No.
obviously bought the books. I was
Mm,
figuring out what podcasts to listen to. And I remember I'm like, oh, I listen to this podcast and they know these people. So I started listening to this.
yeah.
And I was just on this roll. So I had the discipline to do the right things. I just didn't trust myself. And how wild it is to look back and go, oh, where was the self trust?
Mhm.
And it's hard to even put words to thinking back to that version of me. But I realize now that I really was looking for validation
Mm.
in these men in my life and just outside of me, waiting for somebody to show up and like hand it to me. Like, here's Cynthia, here's your self-worth. You're
No.
good to go. And that's, unfortunately,
Mm.
I can say even though I didn't want to, I had to walk this path, and I had to integrate, and I had to learn my worth again. I had to learn to trust myself again. Because in all honesty, I never made any mistakes.
Mm-mm.
I just was thrust into these life situations, and I didn't know how to deal with it. And that's a tough time to be going through that. But now it's just one of those things that I'm looking back, I'm almost kind of happy it happened. As strange as that sounds.
I don't think it really sounds that strange because all these moments, it's usually not the happy moments and the good moments that give us a life transformation
Yeah.
or where we become the better version of ourselves. Now we've had a lot of great moments in our friendship throughout this long friendship that we've had,
Yeah.
but our growth really is not coming from the times when we go and do some wine tours at different places or travel together. We've traveled a lot together with some of our other friends, and it's a lot of fun, and we grow in some ways, but that's more us being silly and having a good time. The growth comes from the uncomfortable things. It comes from those times that try to break us. That's where it comes from.
Man, those
Mhm.
those times just show up, don't they?
It's terrible, but I would never want my mom to be gone. If she was here, she would be so excited and so proud of what we're doing. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't be doing this if she hadn't passed away. So we all become a different version of ourselves. I had to grow into this person, the person that I really needed. And that way, hopefully, there's other people that need to know this story that can learn from my growth and know that you're not alone on that journey and that these difficult times are going to produce something beautiful inside of you. And I know we've had a lot of those conversations, especially when I was struggling or you were struggling. We've both been there. Like I said, we've supported each other through a lot of growth cycles in a lot of different areas of our lives. These two times just happen to be those main pivotal moments that kind of, like you said, thrust you into this whole journey of personal growth and really looking inside rather than outside of ourselves.
I just want to say, when it comes to the journey, I'm winning on the journey of drinking the wine. Uh,
We are winning. We are
we're
winning.
winning, but I'm winning as
Yes,
I
you
drink
are.
more.
She
I
is.
am killing it.
Dang
Look,
it.
you see that?
Oh my gosh.
I'm killing it. You
Dang.
talk a lot.
Mhm. Growing up, I always wanted to be a talk show host. So
Well, your
here we
dream
are.
has come true. I'm
Thank
gonna pour us
goodness.
more wine.
Yeah, could you?
It's
That would
really for
be,
me more than her,
it
but
is,
you
but this is how I can keep up. I'm actually
know.
very competitive, so this is becoming a problem, lady.
When we went into the project planning for podcast, Rebellious Woman, we did not discuss the competitive nature of our drinking. It's always been this silent thing I think we've had
Yeah,
between each other, but now that it's going into the public eye, now it's a race
it
always.
is. It is. It
I don't
is.
know
It
I
is
don't
a
know
race.
exactly what you win at the end other than
Happiness.
joy.
Joy and happiness. Really, what is it? This is, and I hope you guys are sitting on a Friday night with a little bit of wine with your girlfriends. Uh, it's okay to cry a little. It's okay to get a little uncomfortable. It's okay to grow together. And it's okay to have some wine together and enjoy those moments because life is full of a lot of beautiful things and we need to enjoy it.
Amen.
Yes.
You know, I'm just gonna say, go as we continue our show here today, that I think it's important to look at something I learned is, and I'm sure everybody that's listening can relate, is clarity doesn't show up before you do anything. Because I know that was a very difficult lesson. Like, it was like this waiting, a waiting and waiting for, I'm like, but I'm reading all the books. I'm doing all the right things.
Yeah.
why isn't it showing up? And it wasn't until I took a step, I took a bold action. I had to make a tough decision. And that's when clarity showed up. And I think that's a really important lesson. It's easy to say out loud, harder to execute, but Whenever you feel like you feel that sense of no direction, maybe the lost, the feeling of being lost, and just remember it might be that you just need to take that step. You need to take that bold action and trust yourself. Trust yourself because that's the whole theme of this month.
Absolutely.
You already know. We already know. It's
We
in
do.
here.
It's just if you're like us, you might be stubborn. You might, I'm very stubborn. I know. I might be the most.
It's a good quality.
I think it is.
No.
It is. It is.
Just
It's
kidding. It's a
also
good,
called conviction,
yeah, conviction.
right?
Ooh, strong
So
word.
my point with that is a lot of us are going to feel that stubbornness because we're very comfortable in what we know. You can be comfortable in something that isn't good for you. You can be, right? You can be comfortable in grief. You can be comfortable in a relationship that is not healthy. We could go on and on about the things that we could be uncomfortable with. My point is that if we're uncomfortable, we might be a little bit stubborn to take the step that we know we need to do. And that's where that self trust comes in. I had to deal with that in the same way you did, is I had to trust that I could lead myself, that I could use all the knowledge, all of the kind of training that my mom instilled in me, that I could use all of that. And basically, she did give me all the tools. She really did. I was fully equipped with everything. I just didn't want to do it without her. That's all. I didn't want to. And that is a strong quality that I have. If I don't want to, I am going to be stubborn about it. But at a certain point, I had to trust those tools, trust that the timing, whether I liked it or not, the timing was it and it happened and there was no changing it.
Yeah.
So that self trust is huge. And it's so important that we start to listen to it. In the end, we couldn't find the space that we needed, that we were both looking for. So we built it.
We created Positive Female Awakening and we created the Rebellious Woman podcast out of all of this that we've just shared with you today.
And this is a living expression of what we've gone through. I didn't find a mentor. I didn't find a guide. I didn't find the elder woman that I was looking for. So I became the woman that I needed. This isn't about outsourcing and looking for something, it's about looking within. And when you do that, you start to find some clarity in what you're doing. It's not about doing it alone, it's about having other people around. It's being informed by a community, but not depending on it.
Most of the time, we're not stuck. We just don't trust ourselves to take the next step. And there's many times that we'll make the right decision, but we skip the healing. And it turns out we cannot fully move forward until we really process what we've been through. And we take time to reflect on it. And that is so pivotal. Like such a hard lesson to learn. But man, again, I'm gratitude queen tonight because I am grateful that I have learned these lessons and I'm even more proud and I'm so joyous that we even get to share this with you today. No one is coming, but that's the most liberating truth you'll ever learn.
Becoming her is not a motivational phrase. And I know you might be hearing that right now. I have. It's actually a daily decision. It's a daily decision to stop the outsourcing of your clarity, of your worth, of your direction. You have the direction already. You know where to go, and you can lead yourself.
Cheers to that.
Am I winning?
No, we're
It's a
tied.
tight race.
We're
We
tied.
are tied.
Totally tied.
I'm winning.
Dang it. We want to leave you with this. What is one thing or one area of your life that you've been waiting for permission to act on and move forward with?
Stop waiting for her to show up. She's not coming from the outside.
She's already here. So let's become her together.
Yes.
Cheers. Cheers. Bam.
Done.